learners, welcome back to Build Coders. This is the video 2 of our system design playlist. In the previous video, we learned about systems, system design, different components of a system, why large systems face problems and what they are, and what are the goals of system design. In this video, we'll go ahead. Most people think system design starts by drawing boxes like servers and databases. But in reality, good system design starts before that. It starts with understanding requirements. If you don't get this step right, your entire design will go wrong, no matter how beautiful your diagram looks. Which is exactly why we are going to cover requirements in this video. Firstly, we'll understand what requirements are, what are the types of requirements, where we'll cover both functional and non functional requirements. We will learn how to extract requirements given a question, where we'll take an example of designing WhatsApp, and why do requirements decide your design. So let's start with what requirements even are. Now, whenever someone says design WhatsApp or design Instagram or design YouTube, they are not asking you to start drawing. They are asking you two questions. Question one is, what should this system do? And question two, how well it should do it. This is what they're asking you when they're asking you to design something. So the answer to both these questions is what you call requirement. Basically, a requirement is a clear, specific statement describing what a system must do, which is basically, you can say, the features that your product will have, your system will have, or how well it must perform. Basically, the quality expectations of your system, right? So, a statement that describes what a system must do, that is essentially the features of the system, and how well it should perform, which is basically the quality expectation to meet user and business needs, is what we call a requirement. Now, there are two types of requirements: functional requirements and non functional requirements. So, what are functional requirements? Just remember these two questions, right? Now, the requirements that are going to answer this question, what my system should do, are what you call functional requirements. And the requirements that are going to answer this question are your non functional requirements. So, basically, functional requirements, what are they doing? Functional requirements describe what the system should do. Basically, your features. For example, if I talk about Instagram, right? If I'm talking about Instagram, what are the features of Instagram? I want people to be able to post their reels, share their photos. I want them to be able to message each other. I want the chat option. I want a media sharing option. I want them to be able to view others' photos, others' reels, to be able to like on that, right? Share, comment on that. So all of these features that I want my system to have is what will come under my functional requirements, right? So basically, if you understand what your functional requirements are, you basically understand what you actually need to build, right? Now going towards non-functional requirements. This second question, how well should it perform? This is what non-functional requirements will answer. So basically, my non-functional requirements, they are describing how well the system should perform, right? For example, I want my chat, for example, in Instagram, I want my Instagram chat to be instant, right? I want like instant messaging. So it should be basically fast. So that is one quality expectation that I have, right? What else? I want it to be always available, right? I want it to be available. I want it to handle like millions of users, right? I have a lot of users, so I want it to handle, and the data that comes with all of it, it should not be lost. These are my quality expectations, right? So this is what will come under my non-functional requirements. Now most beginners, when they're designing their systems, this is what they miss. Requirements is what they miss, which is the major reason why their design fails. Now let us try to extract requirements. While we do that, you will be able to better understand about both requirements and how you design your system with your requirements. So let's say the question is designing WhatsApp. Let's design WhatsApp together. So before drawing anything, we write the requirements. So my step one will be, let us start with my functional requirement, right? So now what do I want my WhatsApp to have, like features in a sense? So let's one by one list down the feature that I want. For example, I want one-to-one messaging, right? I wanted to be able to I wanted to be able to DM people on my app, right? I want group messaging. You should also be able to create groups and message on groups as well, right? When I'm creating WhatsApp. I want media sharing. You should be able to share photos, videos, files, right? I want you to be able to see status, in the sense online or offline status, right? If your friend is online, if they're offline, if they're online and still not replying, you should know it, right? Fifth, we need delivery status, message delivery. In the sense, if your message is sent, right? If it is sent or not, or if it is read, or if it is not read, these are the functions I want, right? So this is my step one. So we have listed some requirements that I want my app to perform. These are the features I want in my app. Now we go to step two. Let's go to step two, and very, yes. So my non-functional requirements is what I'm going to list down in step two. Now ask yourself, how do I want my app to perform? Right? We are creating WhatsApp right now. So let's ask ourselves questions. Do I need my messages to be instant? As I send the message, the person I've sent the message to should be able to view it immediately. Right? I do want that. Okay, so that gives me my one non-functional requirement, that is low latency. Do you remember what latency is? We discussed this in the previous video. For example, there is a client and there is a server, and client sends a request to the server. So, yeah, there's a client and there's a server. Client sends a request to the server. The server processes this request and sends a response to the client. Now, the time that this whole process takes is what I'm calling my latency, right? This is my latency. What I want is low latency. Basically, me sending a message to somebody and them being able to view it, them being able to send me back the message. I want that this whole process to be very, very fast, right? It should be instant. That is my first non functional requirement. What else do I want? Ask yourself. I want a lot of users. You need lots of users on an app, right? So millions of users should be able to use it at the same time. It's not just what I want millions of users. Obviously, I want millions of users to be able to use it at the same time. This is very important. This is what actually our scalability is, right? We discussed scalability in the previous video. What is my third requirement? Should my chats ever be lost? I want my chats to stay. right? Now, obviously, you have an option of disappearing messages, but let's build a basic version. So I want my chats to always stay. So I don't want them to be lost. So basically, I'm talking about reliability, right? My chats are not lost, basically. And when I say chats, I'm talking about all sorts of data, right? I'm also talking about media, talking about messages, voice messages, everything. Okay. My app should work all the time, right? You want your app to work 24/7? Yes. So that is what we call availability, isn't it? So I want my app to be available. So these are my non-functional requirements, right? We have listed down the non-functional requirements. So basically, your functional requirements are telling you what your features are. Basically, it's telling you what to build, isn't it? Right? And what is your non-functional requirement telling you? It's telling you how powerful your system should be, isn't it? How well it's performing, because an instant messages, millions of users are going to be able to use it at the same time. It's reliable, chats are not lost, my data is still there, it's always available 24/7. How powerful is that app, right? So that is what my non-functional requirement is telling me. So I hope you were able to understand what requirements are and how do we extract requirements when we actually have to design something. So whenever you have to design something, you know what your first two steps are, isn't it? Functional requirements and non-functional requirements. Coming to the last section of our video today, why do requirements decide your design? Let's come to the why. Why are we even doing this? So see, if I tell you to design something, now if you just go to the drawing, you might design like one server. Okay, this is my server. And you will design a database. Right? You will say, I want one server, I want one database. But actual requirements, what are your requirements saying? Like we explored here, what are my requirements saying? My requirements say that I want millions of users to be able to use it. Right? I want it to be always online. Right? I want instant messaging. Right? So this simple design you see here, this design will fail given these complex high level requirements, right? Given the app you're creating, these are basic requirements. But when you create a design, you are going to create a lot of complexity in order to cater this, which obviously this basic design is not going to be able to do, which is where our requirements help us. So basically, your requirements enable you to decide in choosing load balancers, right? Whether I need it or not, how many do I need it, how do I want them to be structured, right? Load balancers, whether I need to use caching, whether I need replication, or I need like my data sharding, right? One little note here, in case any of these terms are unfamiliar to you, don't worry. We are going to cover all of this throughout the playlist. Just stay with me, and all of this will be very clear. So basically, these are the complexities of your design. Let's just understand it this way. So, this was your basic design that you understood, client server architecture that we discussed in the previous video. But my requirements are like these. So, these are very heavy, complex requirements. So, I'll need to be deciding between things like these and a lot more. This is just 4 examples I'm giving you. It's just a lot more that I need to decide about. So requirements, they're not a formality. They actually control your architecture, right? So how many servers I will need, how many databases will I need, and how do I need to structure them? They are controlling your architecture, your requirements, right? So I hope you understand why requirements are important. I hope you understand the types and how you extract them, given you know what system you have to design. I hope this video was really useful. From the next video, we will learn something even more powerful. Before designing any system, now you know what requirements you are, but there are some back of the envelope estimations that engineers do right before they design any system. For example, they will calculate how many users do I have, how many requests per second do I wish to cater, how much data per day should my app be able to handle, right? And this whole maths decides the design, right? So this is what we're going to cover in our next video, estimations and how you do that. Stay tuned to the playlist. Thank you. Bye bye. Happy learning.